Hello, Scott from Wessex Blades in England. Thanks for joining me again. Lots of interest in my ferro rods, and I thought about doing something slightly different, as I always do. So I've got two pieces of Iroko glued to a piece of oak. Oak's a little bit bigger, they weren't an exact match. I'll have a go at that on my little drill press lathe. And then I was passing by a load of guys who were doing grounds work, clearing. And just before they hurled all this hedging into their shredder, I had a look at the leaves and they had a look at the leaves, and between us we sort of thought, yeah, perhaps it is hornbeam. Now I'm not going to say it is hornbeam, it's not fair on everybody. I reckon it is, but I'll just say it's white hardwood, okay? In England I think the hardest wood we've got is called box. Hornbeam is just under that. It's a very, very hard wood. This stuff sands like nothing I've ever experienced. It's really, and it is hard. I'm planning to get 5 handles out of this piece. This is one of the few pieces I've got. I've got a sort of box full about that big. I'm hoping to get one there with that really cute bend in it. So you can imagine that you hold the rod like that and spark it off. So I'm going to cut a section out of there, attempt to drill with my 9mm drill in the drill press, trying to clamp it and jig it up as best I can to get it really central to the whatever side I'm going to go to, and see what I end up with, see what the results are. Also I'm going to have a go at turning that. So stay tuned, come back in a minute and see if it works. It's pretty hard stuff. Okay, so that's those cut. And as that doesn't fit there, I'm just going to cut it clean in half. All right. If I cut it offset, hopefully I'll get 1 handle out of that and 2 handles out of that. So cut it into 1/3 and 2/3 sort of proportions. Should be about there. And well, that cut quicker than that, which really leads me to believe that that is some hard shrub bush stuff. Okay, so that's there. I'll cut that straight. Let me get back in. Right, that was a bit of a challenge to drill because it was like all like this. So I had a clamp there, and it was all up inside there like that, and in here was together with that, and well, looked a bit dangerous, so didn't show anything that was going on. But it seemed reasonable, and I got a hole right down through the middle. So I'll finish off the edges there and there in a bit, and I'll get myself set up with the drill press lathe and get that laminated. Okay, I'm cutting an X from corner to corner on both ends of my laminated piece of 3 pieces of wood there. It's not the perfect saw for cutting end grain. Like that. I'll do the same the other side. Now put the drive tool and hammered it into the centre of the crisscross with a centre plug. So basically just done that. That now goes in a chuck, and the idler, which is down here, will go in the centre of the bottom crisscross. So about there. Now it's a bit of a fiddle because I've basically got to wobble that down as far as it will go, and then lift that up. It's all good. The only snag of all this is that the stage doesn't hand crank up. So what I'm doing is I'm using a piece of wood against the bottom base and heaving up on it in order to drive the two centres in. And once I lock it off at the back, when I check it's central, that's pretty close. Eventually you should get that spinning vaguely vertical. Let's get going on my goggles and everything. Okay, so I've got a spindle gouge lightly done up the edge there. Got a full face mask and on pretty fast. for a tea. Right, let's get finishing these off. Anyway, while I was waiting for the epoxy to dry on those three, I'll just show you what a little one I've done for myself. I love small and compact. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so here's the results. The one I think is hornbeam. How's that? Looking nice. And the two in Iroko and oak. Sweet. Now one of these I'm going to try and get in my Becker BK7 pouch. Very narrow. So that was the point of me making them so they weren't all the same design. So if you remember a week or so ago I said that I wasn't going to do them all the same profile because it seemed to me a bit short-sighted in a way, that if I come up with a great design I'd have to try and keep them all exactly the same. There's no individuality to what you're able to get, and of course if 3 or 4 of you go out with a handful of my things, how are you going to tell them apart? Only in the fact that one's more worn than another. Whereas if you've got all distinctive handles, there's no chance of mixing them up, and you know you're getting a one-off. So that's why I'm doing them. The first batch I tried to get them all identical, and it was alright. It was a challenge to get them all the same, but I'd rather that each person got an individually crafted ferro rod. At the end of the day, most of your knives are different, or you try and put your own character on them anyway, so that's why I'm doing them the way I'm doing them, making them all different. But you know, big, small, long, thin, that sort of area, you can predict the style of rod that you're after, and I'll make the handle to suit you. The only other thing was to Chris, all 3 are packed up and be on their way as soon as I can get to the post office. So Scott from Wessex Blades, the next batch of ferro rod handles. All the best, see you on the next one.